Tony D and Little Joan with Screenwriter's Rant on Scream 6. All right, let's do this. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 10 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget Kindle. Unlimited is free. I've never liked Scream. Never thought it was a good franchise. Never thought it was worth redoing. It might as well be Friday the 13th. It's really kind of the same movie. In fact, they did Jason Takes Manhattan, you may remember, where they brought Jason to New York. That to me was, although at the time I thought, God, that's a stupid franchise. Compared to this, it's practically, I don't know, Citizen Kane. I mean, at least in that case, you had a murderous, unstoppable character that was from a summer camp, and he was in a different location, and he was in New York. This movie was already a derivative of scary movies, right? It was guys who were obsessed with scary movies, and I don't know, they were trying to I don't know. I don't even remember the stupid plot from Scream 1. So they were trying to recreate scary movies, and what happens a lot of time in Hollywood is a franchise just lasts long enough that they can validate the franchise by itself, right? Because people kind of sort of romanticize the past in their brains, so if you just keep bringing something back long enough, they kind of like, well, wasn't that bad. The third one's good, or the fourth one's good, or the second one's not good, and I like that one. It's kind of like, what's the best Chili's, or the best Denny's, or the best McDonald's, or whatever. So, is this movie scary? It's not scary to me, because, I don't know, I just think it's stupid. Jenna Ortega's in it. Is not a bad actress. What's her name? Panteri, the cheerleader's in it. Courtney Cox is in it, and her new face. But it's the same damn movie, except it takes place in New York, and Ghostface somehow just keeps murdering people until the end of the movie, where somebody has to stop. So, I mean, if you like this, I'm not judging you. I mean, I like junk food, and this is the movie equivalent of junk food. But it's stupid in the trailer. I mean, you gotta acknowledge that. So in this scene, they show Courtney Cox. This time she's got a gun. She's smart, right? And then she blasts a few holes through the door, but then she walks close enough to the door so when Ghostface jumps out to grab her, he's close enough that he can knock the gun away. Pretty stupid. Pretty basic stupid. And then there'll be all sorts of scenes of them running through hallways. Here's a scene where they have to climb across, a rooftop, over buildings, and then subways on Halloween, where, of course, there are other ghost faces. Which one's real Ghostface? No one knows. So it's a diverse cast of victims this time. March 10th, if you're interested. March 9th is my birthday. If you want to get something for me, my birthday, don't go see Scream 6. Will it be a bad movie? I don't think there's any way possible it could be a good movie. It might be watchable. It might be not the worst thing you've ever seen. That's a pretty low bar in my estimation. The mythos of this thing is just, for maybe you could argue like, the first movie it was a meta slasher movie, sure, and it was a big hit, so maybe you do too. But right around 3, it's like, come on, you've killed off everybody 9 million times. You keep bringing people back, and then you try to establish new mythos. The problem with these movies is, of course, when they do it the first time, they kind of pull out all the stops, and there's almost nothing left by the end of the movie to create a mythos. So then they do 2, using what little bit of mythos they might have there to exploit in terms of history in the previous movie to like bring the character back, right? So like Michael Myers, another example. Scream or Halloween 2 takes place like I think right after the events of 1. He like escapes the ambulance. And then in that one, spoilers, the original second Halloween, they set fire to a hospital and he dies. He was a regular guy. And that was kind of supposed to be it, because even when they did Halloween 3, it was 3 more days to Halloween, Halloween. Mike Myers wasn't even in it. This, it's just tiresome to me. I mean, again, I'm not judging if you like it. Maybe you grew up on these movies. They've been around long enough. Oh, I saw it when I was a kid. And I mean, I saw the Jason stuff when I was a kid, and Freddy Krueger and all that kind of junk. I got to be honest, I never really liked those movies because I don't like movies that are pointless killing. And that's what they all kind of are. Except now they're a little more sophisticated about how the slasher guy kills people. You know, in the old days, it was they'd set up a reason for a bunch of young people to be together because all the victims would line up they'd be hooking up, right? They'd be partying and having sex, and that's when he would strike, when you're most vulnerable and having sex, because the purpose of the movie was to bring your date and make out in the movies and have the girl be all over you, and then later you'd be having sex. So this movie kind of continues in that tradition, except now it's trying to pass itself off as a more serious and slick movie that's scary, but not really all that much fun. And really, the previous movies weren't fun either. They were just kind of gross. The effects were so lame sometimes, I think. You know, you kind of couldn't help but laugh at them. Now the effects are really, really good. But they're almost too good. Like, I don't want to see this much blood and gore and suffering. It's not entertainment to me. It's it's not even all that scary. It's just kind of tiresome after a while. To me, a scarier movie would be something a little more psychological and maybe something a little more grounded. This iconic, slasher character is really what I call corporate horror. And it kind of pains me to see fans sort of falling into it. They keep buying the merchandise and just loving it and loving it and loving it. And I feel like they're being sucked in by all the bells and whistles, and there's really not much substance. At least with Halloween, it's a finely crafted movie, the first one by John Carpenter. There's something there. Here it just feels like they're going through the motions, and there's really not much here. There'll be some revelations, but they're almost superfluous to the movie itself, because who the hell remembers what the hell happened in this thing? So, anyhow, I know, I'm very biased. I fully admit I'm very biased against this movie. First act, apparently she's the main character. That's not Jenna Ortega. That's someone else. She's moved to New York to get away from, I don't know, Ghostface, the events of the previous movie. But she starts getting messages in the mail. Maybe she gets a mask in the mail or something. Ghostface becomes famous because of the murders again, and they bring back the character, and that kind of nerves her. Here there's a shrine to Ghostface. I guess it's a museum, or I don't know what this is. But some sicko has this shrine, I guess, and maybe she's making money signing autographs there because she was one of the survivors and she needs the money. I don't know. And then Courtney Cox is one of the survivors who keeps coming back. So, I don't know. They bring her back, and, they unite all the characters in the first act, and they're all talking about Ghostface and how terrible he is. But there's some uneasiness. Oh, he may be back. Someone's using Ghostface to scare me or make money or whatever, and it's Halloween, and the crazies come out, and then sure enough, a guy acting like Ghostface comes out in the second act, and he starts attacking them, killing people. She's got all sorts of defenses. She has a bodyguard. She has a gun, but Ghostface just walks right through and manages to get through it all. And they even have the same old phones from the 90s. Looks like Jenna Ortega maybe dies. I'm not sure. Here's a scene during Halloween. Everybody's dressed up as Ghostface because, of course, they are. It looks like there's a Jason in the mix. And, you could just see it's just the screenwriter trying to go, oh, and there's, I guess that's supposed to be Saw in the background and Jason. So then it's just the screenwriters coming up with new and interesting ways to murder people, as always. As always. Well, let's see. It's New York. We could do a subway scene. We could do, Statue of Liberty scene, I guess, or something like that. And a big skyscraper scene. And the whole second act of them trying to piece together who this guy is. And then the third act, they kind of come up with some shoestring theory of who he is, and it connects back to previous movies, and somehow a dude survived, or I don't know, it's his son or a fan, or I don't know, total stranger. And then they kill him, and some of them survive, or they don't. I don't know. How would I make this movie interesting? Gosh, that's a tough call. Because I never found any of this interesting. I guess what you could do is maybe take it out of the movie world and bring it into, our world, so to speak, and have a convention, maybe where you bring back all the old actors and then somebody starts murdering them as the Ghostface character, and then you could have some reason why that's happening. Maybe he was the one actor who got killed in the first movie, and he always resented the other actors, and so now he's killing them all and reversing it, and he's gone crazy. I don't know if you could do that. You'd kind of have to have a lot of old actors in it, but maybe. I mean, that might be mildly interesting. I would definitely take it out of the Scream world, because I think that's the problem. I think if you removed it from that, you could put it in a world where potentially you'd have some chance to build some characters. But ultimately, it's a slasher movie. There's not much you could do with it other than murder people. The first movie really is the most important. Maybe you could come up with a supernatural theme, or you do a Jack the Ripper thing. But ultimately, it's just a guy who runs around murdering people. If you want to see that, it starts on March 10th. And that's it for me, Tony D. and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more bass takes. I'll be at Wim's Brewery in Acco, New Jersey on Saturday at 2 p.m. talking about the Jersey Devil. And I'll see you